one thing I would like to champion very strongly is that I believe very strongly in family values. So I believe in promoting that among Joo Chiat residents because I feel that this is something that society needs. We talk a lot about economic progress, but we should never forget that family is the basic building block for the whole nation. And therefore, if I do get elected as an MP, then I hope to be able to champion that with my own personal experiences. Sorry? Mandarin 啊，你问我我就讲了。我希望这个竹切区呢是我很喜爱的地方，因为我从小就在这里长大，我的学校也在这里，我现在还是住这里，所以我很希望看到这里呢人民会有一些怎样的 initiative？ 对不起啊 ，initiative 是叫做哇嘞 ，very stressed 的一段时间，sorry， 对，是我希望这些是从人民这里推出来的，我就会支持，因为我觉得呢，我是一个企业家，所以企业家呢，我一向来都是从起步这样开始，慢慢的建起来，建到一个比较有永久性的这个东西了，所以我就希望跟这些居民合作，一起建立起来一个更美好的Joo Chiat。
So you have stayed there for so many years. So after, do you realize that there is something that you don't like about Joo Chiat or anything that pushes you forward?
Actually, the interesting thing about the current Joo Chiat that has been after the boundaries have been redrawn, it's actually a very nice place because the part of Joo Chiat that they have given into the part that they have given to Joo Chiat is Opera Estate, where I have lived for 28 years. I was born there. I played around there. I love that place. So, the whole Joo Chiat is something that I like. Of course, residents tell me parking problems, but it's everywhere in Singapore. There's this issue. We looked at how we can maybe solve it with a more neighborliness approach. I think there are a lot of good eateries here. It's a very peaceful environment. So what I hope to do is to really build up more initiative at the residence level. But it is overall a very nice place.
What are the main grievances that Singaporeans have right now with the Unity Party? Generally, the parking problems.
No, parking problem, of course, is really much a very municipal kind of problems. Of course, at the national level, you look at things like the rising cost of living, the housing problems. I have residents. See, in Joo Chiat, there are a number of elderly folks, including my parents. They've been there for 51 years. They bought it when it was like 20,000 for the house. Of course, they have retired for nearly 30 years. So after so long, things like healthcare costs really, eats at them a lot. So it's things that when I meet the older folks, they tell me that this is not a place that they can afford to be sick in. So that is a rather serious problem when you have a number of old folks telling you that. I think those are the major issues that are facing Singaporeans these days. Joo Chiat is a more unique situation in that it is nearly all private houses, mostly landed apartments, condos. So you face a basically middle class who feel that they are not being represented, they are not being taken seriously by the ruling party, that a lot of policies have ignored them. And although many have cars, there are also many who take public transport, so they have complained about public transport issues, being crowded or being infrequent. I think these are problems that we face, the Singaporeans face generally throughout.
But if they have landed private property, they can afford healthcare, no?
Sorry?
They can afford to pay for medical care?
You see, like I mentioned, like my parents and many other old people that I met, they have retired 20 to 30 years. So they have landed, but then they are sitting on assets but not cash. So many Singaporeans are very asset rich but not cash rich. So when you are sick, what do? Do you pledge your property to the hospital? I have actually met people who told me, quite sadly, that they shifted out of the landed area to go into HDB because they could no longer afford the medical. So they wanted to qualify for for more medical subsidy. So when you are in a private, you are not able to get those. Yeah, I got to watch my time. Yes, I am. Unless they change their lineup. Is Charles here already? Okay.
You're going against such a veteran politician who's very well recognized. What is your strategy for it?
I think my strategy is the same no matter who they send here. So I think the main thing is that you really have to get to know the people. And like I mentioned, for 46 years I've been here. As I walk around, I meet many of my school friends. Sometimes I've lost touch with them for 20 over years. So my approach will just be to walk the ground and to get to know people, because I'm here to serve the Joo Chiat residents if I get elected. So there's no shortcut to it. And I've walked nearly the whole place already. I walked about 90% in the last nearly 2 months. Yes. That's good. My youth and my entrepreneur drive. See, as an entrepreneur, I typically work maybe 16 to 18 hours when I started my company. You know, I don't start with a big setup. I started with 4 men. When I left, the company was 150. We sold it to a public listed firm. So that experience of building something from nothing is my edge. Because, I know that if I get elected, what am I going to get? I'm not going to get a PA to work for me. I'm not going to get a lot of resources. So I just have to figure out the resources. And I don't feel worried in any way, because I've been to situations like this. I've started not just one company, I've started several. And each time you just have to learn how to build it up from scratch. So residents will see that I have the drive, I have the energy because of my relative youth and my knowledge of the place. So yeah, I believe that I will do well.
So how confident are you that you will be able to win?
We don't think about such things, we just go and do as best as we can, because I get very warm receptions when I walk the ground. But as I've been warned by very much more seasoned opposition members that sometimes you get very warm response, but you really need to have that translate to votes on polling day. I have residents who welcome me to the house, offer me food, offer me drinks, tell me lots of things. But I really look forward to them, voting without fear on nomination on the polling day to really make a difference, because it is about time that Singapore should have strong alternative voices, credible alternative voices. And I think we can see in these elections, there are many candidates who are very well qualified coming forward, because we passionately feel that it is not right for just one party to have all the views, all the opinions, with the people coming from the same mold. I come from a different mold. I come from an entrepreneurial mold. I learned how to build things up from scratch. And I believe that this is something, that would make a difference. We will have a different opinion in the parliament. As I mentioned earlier, I feel a lot of the initiative I should make is from the ground up. I'm not talking about hardware infrastructure, because I think Joo Chiat has fairly good infrastructure. Things just need to be maintained. But really, the soul and heart of a place should be with the people. And that's why I'm looking at getting more to the ground level, getting to meet people. I tell residents, you don't have to worry about coming to meet me only once a week for Meet the People session. Right? It is, I live here, so every day I'm going to be living in Joo Chiat, and my house is right in the center of the current Joo Chiat. So I move to the left, to the right, behind, in front is all Joo Chiat. So I can be easily contacted.
Do you feel more relieved or disappointed that Andrew Kwan actually withdraw?
Okay, this will be the last question because I need to leave. I am grateful that Andrew Kwan decided not to contest, but really I'm prepared for all situations. So if there's a three-corner or it's a straight fight, we will just have to do our best. But I truly appreciate his gesture. I think it's a very nice gesture. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.